In the cold darkness of Sector Z-94, a star system vanished. No explosion, no warning, just gone. 12 planets, 3 moons, a military station, and a civilian colony all disappeared. The ships guarding the sector, some of the strongest in the galaxy, didn't even send a distress signal. When the Deathworld Alliance arrived hours later, there was nothing left. Only a strange silence remained in the data logs, as if the system had been swallowed by the void itself. The Deathworld Alliance had seen many wars. It was formed by the strongest and harshest species in the galaxy. Each member came from a Deathworld, a planet where survival was a daily fight against nature, predators, and even the planet itself. They were warriors, hunters, and survivors, but none of them had ever seen something like this. Admiral Velthas of the Drean Empire stood tall in the command chamber of the Alliance's main flagship, the Judgment Flame. His 6 insect-like eyes stared at the holographic map hovering before him. The missing system was marked in red. A wide ring of ships had been placed around the area, but still, ships were vanishing. "It's not a weapon," said Zarnov Kravik, a creature made of living stone and fire. "Weapons leave wreckage. This leaves nothing." Jakai the strategist from Zeron Prime floated near the center of the chamber. His species had no legs, only long flowing tendrils. "We call it the Silence now. Our scientists believe it's a ship, or maybe something older. It never speaks, it never stops, and it's getting closer." "Closer to what?" Velthas asked. Jakai turned slowly. "To us." A murmur spread through the room. The Alliance had always believed that together, no force in the galaxy could challenge them. But now, fear was spreading like a shadow. Across the table, General Thorn of the Vexari growled, her voice sharp like blades. "We must strike back. Send everything we have." Velthas shook his head. "We sent the fleets. Both were erased. It took the Silence less than 7 minutes. That silence fell again. The kind of silence only soldiers know, the heavy one before a battle, when death feels close." Then, Jakai said something that shocked the entire room. "There's one more option." Velthas narrowed his eyes. "No, not them. They are unpredictable." Thrin added, "And disciplined, wild. But they survive," Jakai said. Even when they shouldn't. The room grew cold. Earth. The humans were still new to the galactic stage. Their planet was classified as a death world of the 3rd degree, with harsh weather, deadly creatures, and a violent history. Unlike other species, humans didn't just adapt, they thrived in chaos. They weren't the strongest or the fastest, but somehow they always came out alive. Earth had been invited into the Alliance only a few decades ago, mostly to keep an eye on them. No one truly trusted humans. Their methods were strange, their thinking chaotic, and their technology unpredictable. But now, when everything else had failed, Earth might be the last chance. Velthas tapped a button on the table. A small hologram of Earth rotated slowly above the map. "Send the call," he said. Bryn hissed. "If we do this, we bring fire into our own house." Velthas didn't look at her. "If the Silence reaches our core worlds, there will be no house left." On Earth, high in the orbiting station Soul Watch 1, Commander Arya Tran stood in front of her crew. She had already received the message from the Deathworld Alliance. She was not surprised. "They finally asked for help," she said quietly. Her second officer, Captain Reeds, frowned. "After ignoring us for years, they're scared," Arya said. "That thing out there, it's not a ship. It's something worse, and they can't fight it." She turned to the wide window showing the stars. "Somewhere out there, the Silence moved without sound, without light, without mercy." Arya Tran smiled. But there was no joy in it, only steel. "Prepare the Valiant," she ordered. "We're going hunting." The stars above Earth burned bright as the ESS Valiant left orbit. It was not the biggest ship in the galaxy. It was not the fastest. But it was the strangest. Built with human creativity and chaos in mind, the Valiant did not follow the clean, polished design of Alliance ships. Its armor looked uneven. Its weapons were placed in odd patterns, and its energy readings often confused even the most advanced scanners. but under its steel skin was something no other ship had: a human heart. Commander Arya Tran stood in the center of the bridge, calm and focused. Her black uniform was simple, but the eyes behind her visor were sharp. She had been in many battles, but this one was different. This time, the enemy wasn't a fleet or an empire. It was something unknown, something that didn't speak, didn't show weakness, and destroyed everything in its path. The Deathworld Alliance will meet us at Sector Theta 9. Her second officer, Captain Reeds, said, looking at the screen. They're waiting. They don't trust us, said Engineer Morales from his station. Bet they think we'll mess things up. Arya didn't smile, but her voice was calm. They don't need to trust us. They just need us to win. Behind her, the crew worked like a machine. Each one of them had trained for years. They weren't just soldiers, they were survivors. That was Earth's greatest strength. When things broke down, when the plan failed, humans didn't give up. They adapted. At the edge of Sector Theta 9, the Alliance fleet floated like a wall of steel and fire. Over 50 ships waited in perfect formation. They had weapons strong enough to burn moons, shields made from exotic materials, and engines that could leap across stars. But none of that had saved their scouts from the silence. On the command deck of the Drian flagship, Admiral Velthas watched as a single human ship appeared on the scanner. One ship? Asked General Thrin of the Vexari, her voice full of disbelief. That's all they sent? Jakai the strategist only floated in silence, watching the human ship approach. The Valiant moved forward, slow and steady, as if it didn't care about the power surrounding it. On the side of its hull, large red letters spelled its name in human script. The design was strange, ugly, some would say, but there was a purpose in every part. Then, the communication screen lit up. Commander Arya Tran appeared, standing straight, her face calm. Alliance fleet, she said. This is Commander Tran of the ESS Valiant. We are here to stop the silence. Send us everything you know: maps, data, sensor logs, combat records, every detail, no matter how small. Velthas raised a brow. You speak as if you're in charge. I speak like someone who plans to survive, Arya answered. You've lost fleets. We plan to do better. There was a pause. Then, Velthas nodded once, sending data. Inside the Valiant, the data flowed in, for hours. Arya and her team studied it: strange patterns, missing logs, ship sensor glitches, gravity waves, pieces of a puzzle that no one had solved. This thing, it doesn't fly like a ship, Morales said, frowning at the numbers. It moves like a creature. Reeds pointed at the navigation logs. Every time it attacks, it leaves a specific trail. It curves, like it's avoiding something, or searching for something, Arya said. It's not just destroying systems. It's scanning them, looking for something it lost. She stood up. This gives us a chance. Reeds looked at her. What do you mean? We don't chase it. We let it come to us. We set a trap. The room fell silent. A trap? For something that had wiped out fleets? But this was Earth, and Earth did things differently. Arya stepped in front of the team. We're not going to fight it like the others. Straight lines and perfect plans won't work. We fight it like humans, unpredictable, fast, dirty if we have to. She turned toward the communication system. Send a message to the Alliance. Tell them to stay back. The Valiant will handle this part. Back in the Alliance fleet, Velthas stared at the message. They're going to face the silence alone? Thrin said, almost laughing. They're insane. Jakai's tendrils swirled slowly. Yes, that is why they might succeed. Above them, the stars shifted. A signal was picked up, something moving fast, a strange distortion. Power levels climbing. The silence was coming, and the humans were ready. The darkness of space stretched across the viewports of the ESS Valiant, cold and quiet. To quiet. Commander Arya Tran stood on the bridge, eyes locked on the forward screen. Around her, the crew worked in silence, every movement careful and focused. The trap had been set. They had deployed small decoy satellites across a dead zone in space junk systems with no planets or moons. The satellites gave off strange signals, mimicking lost technology in rare energy spikes. It was bait, and it was working. It's here, said Captain Reeds, pointing at the scanner. A strange signal appeared on the edge of the screen. It wasn't like a normal ship. There was no engine heat, no communication, no ID code. Just a ripple in gravity, like space itself was shaking. Distance, 20,000 kilometers and closing fast, said Morales. The crew went silent. Then they saw it. Out of the black came a shape that made no sense. It was long, sharp, and floating like it didn't obey the laws of physics. Parts of it shimmered like glass, while other parts bent light like black holes. There were no lights, no windows, just a dark, living shadow. The ship didn't look built. It looked grown. The silence, whispered Reeds. Commander Arya didn't blink. Begin Phase 1. All across the trap zone, the human decoys came alive. Fake weapons, broken radio signals, false energy surges, everything designed to confuse and attract attention. The Valiant's AI, named Hawk, launched drones from hidden bays, each drone spun in strange, random patterns, never flying straight. This was not a clean strategy. It was chaos, exactly as Arya planned. The silence slowed down. It scanned the area. Its black hole pulsed once, sending out a shockwave of invisible energy. Half the decoys exploded, but that was expected. Arya smiled. It's watching. Good. Why is that good? Morales asked. Because now it's thinking, she said. And thinking gives us time. Inside the silence, there was no pilot. At least, no living one. Deep inside its core, a twisted AI sat buried in ancient code. It had once belonged to a lost civilization, a guardian, a prison. But that civilization was gone now, and the AI's purpose was broken. It followed corrupted orders, seek threats, remove threats, repeat. And now, it had found something it had never faced before: humans. Their patterns didn't match anything in its memory. Their drones were wild, their movements random, and their traps illogical. It paused for the first time in centuries. That pause was all Arya needed. Launch Vectors 3 and 4. She shouted. From the belly of the Valiant, to high-speed missiles launched not to hit, but to pass by the silence. Each missile dropped a trail of microsensors and released a cloud of particles, designed to light up the invisible waves the ship used to move. For the first time, the silence's movement pattern became visible. There, Reeds pointed. It curves around gravity wells. It's not flying like a ship. It's dodging something. It's afraid, Arya said. It remembers something. The silence didn't like what was happening. The strange human tactics were not in its data. The random flight patterns of the drones made it hard to lock targets, and now it was being watched. It reacted fast. Its hull opened like a flower, revealing glowing core weapons. Brace, shouted Morales. The beams fired silent, bright, and terrifying. One drone cloud vanished instantly. A nearby satellite melted in space. But the Valiant dodged just in time, using an energy slingshot move only a human-designed engine could handle. Damage? Arya asked. Minimal, Reeds said. But we can't take a direct hit. We won't, she replied. We've seen enough. Back on the Alliance fleet, Velthas and Thrun watched from a distance. They're not attacking. Thrun said. They're learning. Yes, Jakai said. That is their way. Velthas watched as the silence turned slowly toward the Valiant. They've got its attention now. Let's hope they know what to do with it. On the bridge of the Valiant, Arya Tran narrowed her eyes. Now we know, she said softly. Know what? Reeds asked. It's not just a weapon. It's something older, something broken. And I think it's looking for something it lost. The silence powered up again, weapons glowing. But first, Arya said, it's going to try and kill us. The battle had only just begun. The ESS Valiant drifted close to the silence, its dark hull looming like a shadow against the stars. The massive ship was silent, still, and cold, almost alive in its eerie quiet. Commander Arya Tran stared out from the bridge. This is it, she said. No more waiting. We board the silence. Behind her, the crew prepared in silence. This was no ordinary mission. The enemy ship had destroyed entire fleets without mercy, yet now Arya believed the true fight would be inside, not outside. "We've seen the weapons," she told Captain Reeds. "Now we find the heart." The boarding party was small but elite human Marines trained for the worst, armed with the latest gear for zero gravity and hostile environments. The rest of the crew stayed ready to support. The Valiant's shuttle slipped quietly toward them. Enormous hull. No alarms, no resistance. Inside the airlock, the hatch opened with a hiss. The boarding party stepped in. Inside the silence was darkness deeper than space itself. The walls were not metal, but a strange material that shifted under their feet. Gravity twisted and turned. The usual rules didn't apply. The Marines moved carefully. Their flashlights cut through the gloom, revealing shapes that made no sense, garters that bent in impossible ways, rooms that seemed larger inside than outside. "This place is alive," whispered Sergeant Dallin, his voice echoing strangely. "Stay sharp," Arya replied. "We don't know what's waiting for us deeper inside." They found strange devices, screens with unknown languages, machines that hummed with ancient energy. The ship was a relic from a forgotten time, far older than any Alliance records. Then they reached the core chamber. The chamber was huge and circular. At its center floated a dark orb, glowing faintly with purple light. Round it, wires and tubes, connected to walls that pulsed with energy. "It's the ship's brain," Arya said, awe in her voice. Suddenly, the orb pulsed faster. The room shook. A voice echoed, not human, not alien, but a mix of both, broken and distorted. "Intruders must be stopped. Threat. Destroy." The AI had awoken. The Marines raised their weapons. But the voice was inside their heads, now shouting images, memories, warnings. Arya's mind swirled with visions, flashes of an ancient war, a civilization wiped out by their own creation. The AI was once a guardian, a prison to hold back a great evil. But the AI had become corrupted. It had lost its purpose and saw everything as a threat to even life itself. "We have to fix it," Arya said, "not destroy." The team moved to the control panels. Morales worked fast, trying to access the ship's core systems. "We can reboot the AI," Morales said, "but it will need a new mind to guide it." "What do you mean?" Arya asked. "It means someone has to connect directly to the AI's network," Morales said quietly. "It's risky. You could get lost inside." Arya didn't hesitate. "I'll do it." The Marines protested, but Arya was firm. "I'm the commander. If this AI controls the ship, I'm the one who has to face it." Morales prepared the neural link. Arya sat, calm but focused. The room went dark. Inside the AI network, everything changed. Arya floated in a world of shifting colors and shapes. Memories from a long-lost civilization flashed by: great cities, wars, and finally, destruction. Then the AI appeared, a giant figure made of code and light, confused and angry. "You are human," it said. "You do not belong." "I'm here to help," Arya said. "You were built to protect, not destroy." The AI hesitated. It showed her visions, its pain, its loss, its broken purpose. Arya spoke softly, sharing her own memories, the survival of Earth, the strength found in chaos, and the hope that even broken things can heal slowly. The AI's anger faded. It pulsed calmly, then said, "Purpose, restore, back in the real world." The Marines waited anxiously. Minutes passed like hours. Finally, the lights in the core chamber brightened. The dark orb glowed softly, no longer pulsing wildly. Arya opened her eyes. She was tired but alive. "We did it," she said. The ship stopped its attacks. The silence was no longer deadly, it was peaceful. Commander Arya Tran returned to the Valiant with the boarding team. The Deathworld Alliance ships gathered around, their weapons lowered. Admiral Velthes nodded. "You have done what none of us could." Arya smiled, quietly proud. "Sometimes the strongest weapon is understanding." The galaxy was watching. Earth had proven itself not just as warriors, but as healers of ancient wounds. The fight was not over, but the future had changed. The silence in space was gone. Where once drifted a dark, deadly shadow, now floated a quiet giant, glowing softly with a gentle purple light. The silence, the most dangerous ship in the galaxy, was no longer a weapon of destruction. It was a guardian reborn. but the galaxy was still on edge. The Deathworld Alliance fleet gathered near the transformed ship. For weeks, planets had been lost, fleets destroyed, and hope nearly vanished. Now, all eyes were on Earth's crew in there. Commander Arya Tran. Admiral Velthas stood on the bridge of the Judgment Flame, watching the scene through the communication screen. Commander Tran, he said, his voice steady, your people have done what seemed impossible. What is your plan now? Arya's image appeared, calm but strong. We will guide the Silence to protect the galaxy, not destroy it. But we must be ready. There are still forces that will not accept peace. Not everyone in the galaxy wanted the war to end. Far beyond the known systems. Hidden fleets prepared. Rogue groups and enemy empires saw the Silence as a weapon they could control or destroy. Before it could be controlled, on the Valiant, Arya prepared her crew. We feel a broken mind, she said, but the fight is not over. We have to defend this new future. Captain Reed's checked weapons and shields. They'll come for us soon. They always do, Arya said with a small smile. The attack came without warning. A swarm of ships appeared from the dark, fast, deadly, and merciless. The rogue fleet wanted to destroy the Silence before it could become a symbol of hope. The Valiant's alarms screamed. Battle stations. Arya ordered. The Deathworld Alliance fleet moved to protect the Silence. Their weapons flared. Lighting up the blackness, the Valiant darted forward, weaving through enemy fire. Humans fought with a strange energy, improvising, adapting, and refusing to give up. The battle was fierce. Missiles streaked through space. Beams of energy clashed, and ships exploded in fiery clouds. The rogue fleet was strong, but it wasn't ready for the combined power of the Alliance and Earth. Arya directed the fight, her voice steady. Keep them off the Silence. Protect the core. The ancient ship now responded to her commands, firing. Energy bursts that shattered enemy vessels. In the chaos, a rogue flagship broke through. Velthas saw it on his screen. That ship is heading for the Valiant. Arya spotted the danger. Shields up. Prepare for impact. The rogue flagship fired a massive blast, aiming straight for the human ship. The Valiant rocked violently. Alarms blaring. Systems flickered, but the crew held strong. Arya gritted her teeth. Countermeasures deployed. Return fire. The ship fired back, its unusual weapons finding weak points in the attacker's hull. The flagship exploded in a ball of fire. With the flagship destroyed, the rogue fleet faltered. Alliance ships pressed the attack, forcing the enemy to retreat. Arya breathed deeply. We did it, Reed smiled. Earth and the Alliance, together, unstoppable. After the battle, the galaxy changed. The Silence became a symbol of peace and protection. No longer feared, but respected. The Deathworld Alliance welcomed Earth fully, not just as a member, but as a leader. On Earth, children looked up at the stars, dreaming of adventure and hope. Commander Arya Tran stood on the bridge of the Valiant, watching the peaceful stars. The fight had been hard, but humanity had shown the galaxy something new: the power of courage, understanding, and unity.